The Galactic Council Chamber was the largest hall in the known universe. It floated inside a giant space station above a gas giant, its walls made of silver metal and glowing glass. From here, the fate of hundreds of worlds was decided. It was a place of power, where kings and rulers of distant planets sat together. But today something felt wrong. The air was thick with tension. Delegates of many species filled the seats. Beings with wings like crystal, others with fur as black as night, some with skin that shined like molten metal. Their voices were low, whispering, hissing, clicking in confusion. At the center of the hall stood 3 humans. One of them, tall and calm, was the ambassador of Earth. He wore no crown, no armor, only a simple dark uniform with a small Earth emblem over his chest. Yet he carried himself with the confidence of someone who knew exactly what he was about to do. The leader of the council, an ancient creature with eyes like glowing suns, slammed his staff on the floor. The echo made the entire hall fall silent. "Human," he said in a deep voice. "The council is waiting. Speak." The human ambassador looked around the chamber. Hundreds of alien eyes stared back at him, some curious, some hostile, some amused. Then he spoke, his voice steady, words simple but carrying through the entire hall. "Earth," he said, "is leaving the Galactic Council." The silence that followed was so deep that even the air systems seemed to stop humming. Then the laughter began. It started with the Traken, a warlike species covered in golden scales. Their leader leaned back, his sharp teeth glinting. "Leaving?" he repeated with a hiss. "No one leaves the council. Not in 1,000 years. Not ever." The insectoid Rawl clicked their jaws in amusement. The winged Slen chirped with mocking sounds. Even the cold, machine-like Vorl emitted a static burst that sounded like laughter. The human did not react. He waited until the noise died down, then repeated, louder this time, "Earth is leaving. Today. Now. We are no longer under your laws. No longer bound by your rules. Earth is free." This time no one laughed. Angry voices erupted instead. "This is rebellion," shouted a delegate with skin like flowing water. "They are challenging the entire galaxy," roared the massive Friend. "Crush them before they spread this madness," screamed a thin, skeletal being with burning red eyes. The council leader raised his hand again, silencing them. His golden eyes locked on the human ambassador. "Do you understand what you are saying?" he asked slowly. "The council has stood for 10,000 years. No world has ever left. To break away is to bring chaos to the stars." The human's gaze was steady. "Then maybe the stars need chaos." A ripple of shock moved through the hall. The Traken leader slammed his tail against the floor. "Without the council, you are nothing," he hissed. "We control the trade routes, the fleets, the armies. Your little planet will starve within a year." The human tilted his head slightly. "Try us," he said softly. Those 2 words froze the entire hall. The council leader rose slowly, towering above everyone. "Earth will reconsider," he said, his voice heavy with threat. "No one defies the council." But the humans had already turned to leave. "Stop them," someone shouted. "Make them sign the treaty again." The ambassador paused at the door. He looked back once, his face calm but his words like ice. "Do not come to Earth," he said. "Do not send fleets. Do not send threats. If you do, you will see a side of humanity you are not ready for." Then the doors closed behind him. The hall was silent. For the first time in centuries, the rulers of the galaxy did not know what to say. Some were angry, their pride burning. Others were afraid, remembering old whispers about humans. How fast they learned, how stubborn they were in war, how quiet they had been for so long. The Traken leader finally broke the silence. "Let them go," he growled. "When they beg for food, when they beg for protection, we will remind them who rules this galaxy." But deep inside, even he felt something he had not felt in centuries. Unease. Far above the council planet, the human ship left orbit. Its engines glowed like blue fire as it turned toward the blackness of space. Earth was alone now, but humanity had chosen this path. And soon, the galaxy would learn whether it was courage or madness. The news spread like fire across the galaxy. Earth had left the Galactic Council. At first, many worlds refused to believe it. The Council had ruled for thousands of years. No planet had ever walked away. No one dared to break the unity of the stars. But it was true. 3 humans had stood in the council chamber, spoken a few calm words, and then left. Now everything was changing. On the trading world of Sci, merchants argued in the markets. Some said Earth was finished, without council trade routes they would starve. Others whispered that humans had secret fleets, weapons hidden in the dark of space. On the mining colonies of Kren 5, workers gathered in mess halls, watching the news screens. Earth stood up to the council, one miner said in awe. No one ever does that. Another shook his head. They're dead. The council will crush them like insects. But no one was certain, because humans had always been different. For 100 years, they had been quiet members of the council, paying taxes, sending diplomats, following rules. They never caused trouble. They never fought wars. They listened, learned, and stayed silent. Too silent. Some species now wondered if Earth had been waiting for this moment all along. In the Grand Council Palace, the rulers argued. They must be punished, shouted the Traken leader, his golden scales flashing under the lights. Send the fleets. Burn their cities. Make an example of them before others get ideas. The insectoid Rahl clicked their jaws. Too easy. One of them hissed. Humans are clever. We should first cut their trade. Starve them, make them crawl back in weakness. The winged Slen delegates flapped their crystal wings nervously. What if they have weapons we do not know about? One asked softly. The Traken laughed, a harsh, hissing sound. Weapons? They are a small species on a single planet. We command the stars. They have nothing. But not everyone agreed. From the corner of the chamber, an older voice spoke. It belonged to the Mern, a long-lived species with skin like stone. Their people remembered ancient wars, battles fought before the council even existed. Do not underestimate them, the Mern leader said slowly. I have seen humans fight before. Long ago, when our fleets first met, there's near the red moon of Dareth. We thought they were weak then too. He paused, his heavy eyes dark with memory. We were wrong. The chamber fell silent. No one liked to remember the Dareth incident. A small human fleet, outnumbered 3-1, had fought until the last ship fell. They had not retreated. They had not surrendered. Even in defeat, they had killed far more than anyone expected. And that was 100 years ago, when humanity's technology was far behind the council's. What had they built since then? Outside the council chambers, rumors began to spread. On border worlds, strange things were happening. Human trade ships vanished from normal routes. Old listening stations on moons went dark. The human colonies near the edge of council space stopped sending reports. It was as if Earth was slowly disappearing. The council called it fear. They are running, the Traken leader said with contempt. They know what is coming. But others weren't so sure. Spies whispered about secret human shipyards hidden in asteroid belts. About strange energy readings from the dark side of Earth's moon. About research stations on frozen worlds that no alien was allowed to visit. One rumor even claimed that human scientists had cracked something forbidden, something the council had banned long ago. No one knew if it was true, but the whispers grew louder every day. In the middle of all this chaos, Earth remained silent. No answers came from their ambassadors. No threats. No demands. The human fleet stayed near their own worlds, quiet, watchful. And somehow that silence was more frightening than open war, because the council had expected rage, panic, begging. Instead, Earth acted as if it had been waiting for this. Finally, the council voted. Sanctions first. Trade blockades second. And if Earth still refused to return, they would send the fleets. The humans will learn, the Traken leader said with a cold smile. One planet cannot stand against the galaxy. But far away, in the shadow of Earth's moon, a fleet of black warships waited, silent, hidden, and ready. The Council fleets moved like a wave of steel and fire through space. Hundreds of warships from dozens of alien species gathered near the border of Earth's territory. Their engines burned bright against the darkness, their weapons armed and ready. They were fast, powerful, confident. To them, this was not a war. It was a punishment. Earth must learn, hissed the Traken commander, his golden-scaled face glowing under the lights of his bridge. No planet defies the Council. Beside him, the insectoid Raal Admiral clacked his jaws. We will break their defenses in a day, he said. Maybe in hours. The Council had given Earth one last chance to return peacefully. There was no answer. Not even a single word. That silence angered the Council more than any threat could have. So, the fleets advanced. The first human colony they reached was on a small frozen moon called Asterion 3. It had once been a busy mining hub, with lights, machines, and 1,000 workers. Now it was empty. The landing teams found no people, no ships, no cargo. The mines were silent. The homes abandoned. Where did they go? One alien officer asked, scanning the empty streets. No one knew. Every human outpost they checked was the same. Deserted, silent, waiting like a graveyard in the dark. Some of the alien soldiers began to feel uneasy. It's a trick, the Traken commander snapped. They are hiding. It doesn't matter. We will reach Earth soon. But the veterans, the ones who had fought humans before, said nothing. Because this felt wrong. As the fleets pushed deeper toward Earth, strange things began to happen. Council ships reported missing probes. Scouting vessels disappeared without sending distress calls. Communication signals broke apart into static before cutting off completely. Then came the first wreck. A Council frigate was found drifting in space, its engines cold, its crew gone. There was no battle damage, no signs of life, just a single message burned into the side of its hull. Turn back. The commanders ignored it. Finally, the fleets reached the edge of Earth's solar system. And that was when it happened. From the shadow of Neptune, something huge moved. At first, the alien crews thought it was just an asteroid. But then the asteroid turned, engines lighting up like blue suns. A ship emerged. No, not one ship. Many. Black as night. Silent as ghosts. Massive warships unlike anything the Council had ever seen. Their hulls carried no flags, no markings, no signals of peace or surrender. Only the symbol of Earth, painted in silver. The Council fleets froze. For centuries, the Council had mapped every ship in the galaxy. They knew the designs of every fleet, every military, every weapon. But these ships, no one had ever seen before. Where had Earth built them? How long had they been waiting? A voice crackled over the Council's comms. Calm, cold, human. This is your only warning. Leave our system. Do not return. The Traken commander laughed, his golden teeth flashing. Fire on them, he ordered. Show them the power of the Council. The Council fleets moved to attack. That was their last mistake. The human ships moved like shadows, fast and silent. One moment they were still. The next they struck. Blue beams of energy cut through Council cruisers before they could even raise shields. Alien battleships exploded in white fire, their pieces spinning into the void. The Council had numbers, but the humans had speed, precision, power. It was not a battle. It was a slaughter. Alien admirals shouted orders, but their fleets fell apart in panic. The human ships attacked from every direction, disappearing into the dark, reappearing only to destroy another enemy cruiser in seconds. The Council had always believed Earth was weak, that humans were backward, fragile, unimportant. Now, in the cold silence of space, they learned the truth. Within an hour, the once proud Council fleet was in ruins. The surviving ships retreated in chaos, leaving wrecks burning in orbit around Neptune. On the bridge of the lead human warship, the commander gave a single order. Do not pursue. Let them run. Because this was not about revenge. This was a message. Far away, in the Galactic Council chambers, the news arrived like a thunderstorm. The fleet they had sent to punish Earth, the strongest fleet they had assembled in decades, was gone. The delegates shouted, argued, demanded answers. But no one had answers, because no one understood how Earth, a single planet, had done this. And deep inside, every ruler, every admiral, every soldier of the council felt the same cold thought. If this was only Earth's first strike, what would come next? The wreckage of the council fleet drifted silently near Neptune. Broken ships, shattered weapons, and burned metal floated in the cold dark. From the bridge of the lead human warship, Commander Rylan watched the chaos on his screens. His face was calm, but his eyes were hard. "They came to scare us," he said quietly. "Now they no fear themselves." Around him, the crew worked in silence. No one cheered. No one celebrated. Humanity had won its first battle against the Council. But this was only the beginning. Because the Council would come back. They always did. Far away at the Galactic Council headquarters, panic spread like wildfire. The delegates screamed at each other inside the great chamber. "The humans have secret weapons," one shouted. "They destroyed half the fleet in an hour," cried another. "They must have allies. Someone is helping them," accused a third. The Traken leader slammed his tail against the floor, his golden eyes burning with rage. "No allies," he hissed. "They did this alone." The room went silent, because deep down everyone knew he was right. The council sent scouts to study the battle site. What they found terrified them. Human weapons had cut through their strongest warships as if the shields were nothing. Their energy beams were faster, sharper, more precise than anything the council possessed. And the human ships had strange engines, silent, smooth, able to vanish from sensors like ghosts. "Impossible," muttered one alien scientist, staring at the data. "They should not be this advanced." But they were. Somewhere in the last 100 years, while the council had been busy controlling trade and writing laws, Earth had been building something. Something the council had ignored. Something they now feared. 3 days later, the council sent a second fleet. Bigger, stronger, armed with weapons from 5 different species. They thought the first defeat had been luck. They were wrong. When the fleet entered human territory, the humans were waiting. This time, the council ships did not even reach the asteroid belt. Human warships came from the darkness like shadows, moving in perfect silence. Missiles with strange blue trails struck first, tearing through alien battleships before they could even raise defenses. Then came the railguns, massive weapons firing metal slugs at impossible speeds. They punched through shields, armor, entire ships as if they were made of paper. The battle lasted only 40 minutes. 40 minutes, and the second fleet was gone. But humanity was not finished. When the last council ship retreated, human warships followed them. Not to the capital, not to start a full war, but to make a point. One by one, human ships appeared near key council worlds. They didn't fire. They didn't attack. They only hovered there, in orbit, silent and watching. It was a message. We can reach you anytime, anywhere. There is nowhere safe. On one planet, crowds gathered as a massive black human dreadnought appeared above their skies. Its weapons were silent, but its presence alone was enough to empty cities in fear. Then, just as suddenly, it vanished into space again. The council realized something terrifying. Humanity didn't just have weapons. They had strategy and patience. Inside the council chambers, fear turned into anger. "This is war," roared the Traken leader. "They dare to threaten us in our own skies." But some voices were changing. "They are too strong," said the Mern leader, the ancient one with stone-like skin. "We should talk to them. Make peace before this goes too far." The Traken slammed his claws on the table. "Peace? With them? They are a single planet. We are an empire of stars." The Mern's deep voice was quiet but firm. "An empire," he said slowly. "That is losing." On Earth, the human leaders watched everything calmly. For decades, they had prepared for this moment. They had studied every alien technology, every weapon, every mistake the Council had made in its long history. While the Council ruled with arrogance, humanity had learned in silence. And now, for the first time, the galaxy was afraid of a species it once ignored. The next day, a message from Earth reached the Council. It was short, Cold. Do not send more fleets. Do not threaten our worlds again. The next war will not end near Neptune. It will end at your capital. The council delegates read the message in silence. For the first time in 1,000 years, the rulers of the galaxy had no answer. The Galactic Council had ruled for 10,000 years. Its orders were law. Its fleets were feared across the stars. But now, everything was breaking. The news of the Second Fleet's destruction spread faster than light across the galaxy. On border worlds, alien merchants whispered to each other in fear. The humans destroyed another fleet, they said. In less than an hour. On mining colonies, workers stared at the sky nervously. If they can beat the council, one miner asked. Who can stop them? No one had an answer. Inside the Grand Council chamber, the rulers of the galaxy were shouting at each other. This is a crisis, roared the leader of the Traken, his golden scales glowing under the lights. We must gather every fleet we have and crush them before they grow stronger. The insectoid Rawl hissed angrily. We tried that already, one snapped. Twice, and we lost both times. They used weapons we have never seen before, said a delegate from the crystal-winged Slen. Weapons that cut through our shields as if they were nothing. We should open peace talks, said the ancient Mern leader in his slow, deep voice. Before this turns into a war the council cannot win. The Traken slammed his tail on the floor, the sound echoing through the hall. Peace, he shouted. With a species that threatens our worlds, that destroys our fleets, they should kneel before us, not bargain with us. But no one was listening anymore. For the first time in centuries, the council was divided. Some species wanted war. Others wanted peace. Some demanded blockades. Others argued for treaties. Old rivalries, buried for centuries under the council's rule, began to rise again. The Slen blamed the Traken for starting the attacks. The Rawl accused the Mern of weakness. Smaller races accused the council leaders of arrogance. The great alliance of stars was beginning to crack. Outside the chambers, things were even worse. Trade routes collapsed as merchants refused to carry goods through human territory. Border worlds declared independence, no longer trusting the council to protect them. One planet, Krelvier, even sent a message to Earth, offering an alliance. The council panicked when they heard about it. If planets start siding with the humans, one delegate shouted, the entire empire will fall apart. But there was nothing they could do, because no one feared the council anymore. Not after what happened to the fleets. Then came the most shocking news of all. On the distant world of Tauren 5, two council member species began fighting each other. Over trade, over territory, over who should lead the council now that its power was crumbling. The council sent troops to stop the fighting. The troops refused to go. We will not die for the council, one commander said coldly. The chamber fell into chaos. Meanwhile, Earth remained silent. No threats, no attacks, no demands. Human fleets stayed near their own worlds, watching, waiting, and somehow, that silence frightened the galaxy more than any words could. Because everyone knew the humans could strike again at any time, and no one could stop them. One night, in the council capital, the Mern leader met secretly with the Slen representative. We cannot hold the empire together, the Mern said slowly. The humans have shown the council is weak. The worlds are rebelling. Trade is collapsing. Soon, everything will fall apart. The Slen's crystal wings trembled softly. Then what do we do? The Mern's heavy eyes were filled with something strange. Not fear, not anger, but respect. We talk to the humans, he said, before it is too late. But it was already too late for some worlds. On the far edges of council space, pirate fleets rose up, attacking trade routes the council no longer protected. Old enemies began settling ancient scores. Whole sectors slipped out of control. The empire of the council was falling apart piece by piece. And in the middle of it all, Earth stood silent, watching as if it had planned this from the start. In the council chamber, the shouting never stopped. But far above them, in the cold dark of space, human warships waited. They had not attacked again. They didn't need to. Because the galaxy was tearing itself apart without a single human shot being fired. The council chamber was not the same anymore. Once it had been the proud heart of the galaxy. Laws were made here. Armies obeyed its orders. Entire worlds feared its power. Now, the hall was filled with arguments, shouting, and fear. Half the members wanted war with Earth. The other half wanted peace. Old enemies blamed each other. Some delegates even stopped coming at all. The council was breaking apart piece by piece. And then, the humans finally spoke. It happened without warning. In the middle of a heated debate, the screens on the council walls went black. The glowing banners of the council disappeared. And then a human face appeared. He was calm, cold, dressed in a simple black uniform with the silver emblem of Earth on his chest. His voice was steady, carrying across the entire chamber. "Leaders of the council," he said, "this is your final warning." The room went silent. Every delegate froze. Even the loudest voices fell quiet. The human continued, his words slow, clear, and heavy like falling stones. "Do not send fleets against Earth again. Do not threaten our worlds. Do not approach our borders. From this day on, Earth stands alone and free." The council leader, a creature with a crown of golden horns, stood in anger. "You dare threaten us? After we showed you mercy?" The human's eyes were like ice. "Mercy?" he said softly. "You attacked us. Twice. You lost. Twice. This is not mercy. This is survival." Some delegates whispered nervously. Others sat frozen, watching the human face on the screen. The man's voice never rose, but it carried power that filled the entire chamber. "If you come again," he said, "the next war will not end near Neptune. It will not end near Earth. It will end here at your capital." Gasps spread across the room. Was he threatening to destroy the council homeworld itself? The human said nothing more, but his silence felt heavier than any weapon. On the border worlds, news of the human message spread like lightning. Some planets cheered secretly. The council had ruled them with high taxes and strict laws for centuries. Now someone was standing up to them and winning. Other planets panicked. They feared the council would launch an even bigger war. But the council fleets were silent. They were afraid. No one wanted to be the next to face those black human warships. Meanwhile, more reports began to arrive from deep space. Council scouts near the asteroid belt had seen something terrifying. Massive structures hidden inside the rocks. Shipyards bigger than anything in council space. Dozens, maybe hundreds, of human warships under construction. One scout returned with pictures before his ship disappeared. The images showed planet-sized machines mining the asteroids. Gigantic engines being built in secret. Weapons longer than entire council battleships. The council members stared at the pictures in silence. "How long have they been building this?" one delegate whispered. No one had an answer, because the truth was clear now. Earth had been preparing for years, maybe decades, and no one had noticed. Some council members wanted to send spies. The spies never returned. Some wanted to send assassins to kill the human leaders. The assassins were never seen again. In the middle of all this chaos, the Mern leader, the oldest voice in the council, finally spoke. "We should accept their terms," he said in his slow, heavy voice. "End this before it destroys us all." The Traken leader slammed his tail against the floor. "Surrender? To one planet? Never." The Mern turned to him. "How many fleets do you have left?" he asked calmly. The Traken opened his mouth and said nothing, because his fleets were gone. Meanwhile, human warships began appearing near important council worlds again. They didn't fire. They didn't land troops. They only hovered in orbit for hours, then vanished back into the dark. It was a warning. We can reach you anytime, anywhere, and no one could stop them. Back on Earth, the human leaders met in silence. They had given the council their ultimatum. Now the galaxy waited to see what would happen next. Would the council obey? Or would they make one last, desperate mistake? The galaxy held its breath. The human ultimatum spread across every star system, every trading port, every colony world. It was repeated on news screens, whispered in space stations, and debated in dark meeting halls. Do not come to Earth again. Do not send fleets. Do not threaten our worlds. It was not a request. It was a warning. Inside the council chamber, the delegates sat in tense silence. The Traken leader, once loud and proud, stared at the floor. His fleets were gone. His power was gone. His voice was gone. The insectoid Rahl twitched nervously, clicking their jaws but saying nothing. The crystal-winged Slen refused to even look at each other. And the Mern leader, the ancient one with stone-like skin, watched them all with tired eyes. The age of the council is over, he said finally. His deep voice echoed through the empty hall. The galaxy has changed, and we must change with it. No one argued, because they all knew it was true. On distant worlds, rebellions began. Planets long under council control refused to pay taxes. Border colonies raised their own flags. Old alliances broke apart as quickly as they were formed. The council tried to stop it, but no one listened to the council anymore, because everyone had seen what Earth had done. The fleets destroyed, the weapons no one could match, the way the humans hovered above council worlds, silent and waiting, like predators in the dark. The galaxy had a new center of power now, and it was no longer the council. 3 weeks after the ultimatum, something happened that shocked the entire galaxy. A convoy of ships, small, unarmed, carrying no weapons, arrived at Earth's orbit. They were not human ships. They were from 5 different species, and they carried peace offers. In the Great Hall of Earth's capital city, human leaders met with alien delegates for the first time since the war began. There were no council banners here, no golden symbols of power, only a simple Earth flag behind the human commander's seat. The alien delegates looked uneasy. One of them, a tall Slen with crystal wings, spoke first. His voice shook slightly. We come to discuss peace. The human commander leaned back in his chair. His face was calm, unreadable. Peace, he repeated softly. After 2 attacks on our world? The Slen hesitated. The council is not what it was. It has no control now. Many worlds want independence. Others want protection. They want to speak to Earth. A slow murmur spread across the room. Protection. From Earth or by Earth. Meanwhile, the human fleets remained silent. The black warships stayed near Earth's borders, watching, waiting. But everyone knew the truth. Humanity didn't need to invade. They didn't need to conquer. The galaxy was already falling apart on its own. And Earth simply had to wait for the pieces to come to them. 2 months later, the first alien worlds signed treaties with Earth. Not with the Council. With Earth. Trade agreements. Defense pacts. Technology exchanges. It was everything the Council once offered. But now Earth offered it better. Safer. Stronger. And the aliens accepted. Because Earth had shown them what happened to enemies. And what happened to allies. In the ruins of the Council capital, the remaining leaders met one last time. This is the end, the Mern leader said simply. No one disagreed. The Council was dead. His fleets destroyed. His laws ignored. His power shattered. But Earth never declared an empire. The humans didn't send soldiers to rule the galaxy. They didn't build thrones or demand crowns. They simply stood and watched and waited, and the galaxy slowly began to orbit around them, like planets around a new sun. One evening, in a quiet human outpost on the edge of known space, a soldier looked up at the stars. "Do you think this is over?" he asked his commander. The commander shook his head slowly. "No," he said, "this is just the beginning." Because humanity had not only survived the Council, they had replaced it, and a new order had begun. An order ruled not by fear, but by the silent power of Earth.